When chimney smoke hangs still and low across the stubble fields of snow, and angry skies reach down to seize the sorry blackened bones of trees. In the dead of winter, when those silent snowbirds come, you're my sweet maple sugar honey, hot buttered rum. When dreary Christmas decorations line the streets and filling stations, and dime store Santas can't disguise their empty hands or empty eyes. In the dead of winter, when the tinsel angels come, you're my sweet maple sugar honey, hot buttered rum. When boots and woolen parkas bring cold comfort to the heart, and bitter memories freeze the tongues, and words of love are left unsung. In the dead of winter, when those cold feelings come, you're my sweet maple sugar honey, hot buttered rum. You're my sweet maple sugar honey, hot buttered rum. The river flows, it flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down. Take me from this road to some other town. All he wanted was to be free, and that's the way it turned out to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down. Take me from this road to some other town. Flow, river, flow. past the shaded tree. Go, river, go, go to the sea. Go to the sea. The river flows, it flows to the sea. Wherever that river goes, that's where I want to be. Flow, river, flow. Let your waters wash down, take me from this road to some other town.
Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist. My name is Eric Conrad. I'm a member of the Worship Associates Ministry here at the church. I would especially like to welcome any visitors or newcomers to the church and call your attention to the special note for you entitled Welcome Guests and Newcomers, which is on the back of the order of service. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. I'd like to call your attention to an announcement that I've been given. During the Sunday Social Coffee Hour, there will be tables set up in the community room of the Jones Building. One of them is for the annual Pledge Week, another for the Day of Service, another for our STP recipient, the organization table, and also one for community church concerts. As we continue with the reopening, I want to mention a few things to keep in mind. We are masking inside on Sunday mornings as a way of striving to be an inclusive community. After the service, we invite you to gather in two different areas. The courtyard right outside there is a mask optional space for fellowship, and the area behind the Jones Building, which includes the porch, the grassy area, and the playground, offering baskets. So please make your donation in the offering baskets in the back as you enter or exit the sanctuary. Our virtual coffee hour today at 11:30 will be hosted by Rachel Rose and the Welcoming Ministry. The Zoom link is in the weekly announcements and in the Sunday morning email. Our minister, Reverend Tom Belote, is on sabbatical. Our preacher this morning is our sabbatical minister, the Reverend Allison Eskelson. Please turn off or silence any cell phones during our service to maintain a worshipful experience. And we have a Share the Plate announcement by Lisa Epner.
Thank you, Eric. Today's Share the Plate is for table. Since 2008, okay. Since 2008, this nonprofit organization provides food on weekends and summer vacation for children in Orange County. Our church has supported Table since 2015. Currently, 3,402 students are enrolled in free and reduced school meals. The meals that Table provides include fresh produce and healthy non-perishable food, and now with home delivery, more fresh food like greens and berries are included. By serving food directly to children at home, Table ensures transportation is never a barrier. Also, the program accommodates for dietary needs and adjusts kids' bags for food allergies, vegetarian or vegan households, and religious special diets. I'm particularly excited by two new educational programs. Explorers at Home sends students information about healthy eating, recipes to try, and kid-friendly utensils. Topics include the importance of drinking water, added sugar versus natural sugar, explaining fiber, and discussing what are nutrients. The second new program is called Chefs at Home. Each child receives a handout in their bag once a month that introduces them to a local or nationally recognized chef. It includes fun facts about a particular food and a recipe to try at home. The first Chef at Home featured Mama Dib's broccoli as a fun food, and the recipe for broccoli and cheddar omelet pie. The program encourages children to experiment with new foods, have fun in the kitchen, and maybe even be inspired to become a chef. I hope you are as impressed as I am for all that they do, and that you will give generously to Share the Plate today. Thank you.
Twelve 1,200 miles, its length and breadth, the four square cities stand. Its gem-set walls like jasper shine, not made with human hand. Well, 100 miles, its gates are wide, abundant entrance there, with 50 miles of elbow room on either side to spare. When the gates swing wide on the other side, just beyond the sunset sea, there'll be room to spare as we enter there. Room for you and room for me. Oh, the gates are wide on the other side, where the flowers ever bloom. On the right hand, on the left hand, 50 miles of elbow room. Sometimes I'm cramped and crowded here and long for elbow room. I want to reach for altitude where fairer flowers bloom. Well, it won't be long till I shall pass into that city fair with 50 miles of elbow room on either side to spare. When the gates swing wide on the other side, just beyond the sunset sea, there'll be room to spare as we enter there. Room for you and room for me. Oh, the gates are wide on the other side, where the flowers ever bloom. On the right hand, on the left hand, 50 miles of elbow room. On the right hand, on the left hand, 50 miles of elbow room.
Thank you for that music. There's lots of elbow room down on the front rows. If anybody who'd like to come on down. You know, as I look out at all of you here in this sanctuary and imagine those of you at home attending online, I feel the connection that we make. We sit next to someone, we may be shoulder to shoulder, we may be a little distanced, but we are connected. We come together each Sunday morning to be with one another, to know that we are not alone. And in that coming together, I feel the spirit of love and the spirit of life that also fills this room. And I am sure that those of you who are attending online at home are feeling some of that. And in order to make sure you feel some of that, I want to invite all of you who are here in the sanctuary to turn around and face the camera and wave to all those people who might be at home today. Let them know you're thinking of them and that we are connected to them. You know, despite whatever ugliness and division and troubles that exist in the world, we together can withstand it. We can support one another in surviving past it, getting past it. We can help together, we can help change some of that ugliness, that hate, and that divisiveness. We can spread the love that we share even beyond these walls and the walls of our homes. Never, never lose sight that we can, as Margaret Mead said, that we can change the world one person at a time. Eric, will you lead us in our chalice lighting as I put flame to?
The words for the chalice lighting are in your order of service. Please join with me in saying them. Let there be light. Let it shine in dark places, in moments of pain, in times of grief, in the spirit of hatred, violence, oppression, where there is discouragement and despair. Wherever darkness is to be put to flight, let there be light. The opening hymn is number 188 in the gray hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Stand if you're willing and able.
You want to say it? Wait, we're going to do this as a round. Yes. Just around.
Okay, we'll do it in a round, and we'll do the first two verses all the way through in unison, and then we'll break off into a round. And on this side, I'll help this group of folks sing the first part, and then Jane and Scott will take the other side of the room, and we'll sing it through twice in round form and end with a flourish.
So you over here, don't look at him.
Don't ever look at me.
Come, come,
Whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
Sing it again in unison.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, whoever you are, wanderer, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
The first reading is an excerpt from a 2014 sermon entitled "It's All Poetry" by the UU Reverend Josh Pavlik. There are truths, great truths we humans long to discern. We sometimes call this longing the religious impulse. Yet the same longing drives poetry. We long to understand the essences of things, the spirit of things, the endless relationships among all things, the forces connecting all to all, the animating power, the constant flow, the eternal spiraling motion, particles that are waves building and crashing, the rhythm of life, first breaths and final breaths, breathing in and out, beating lub-dub, blood coursing, cycles of life and death, growth, decay, cycles of seconds, hours, days, months, seasons, years, thousands of years, millions of years, movement of suns, moons, planets, galaxies, the pull of tides, the instinct to survive, the will to live, the creative drive, and a parent's boundless love for their child. Poetry points to these truths. but only points because inherent in poetry is the recognition that words alone are insufficient to name them fully. So poetry uses fewer words, and in doing so, creates space for other ways of knowing, of feeling, of sensing, intuiting, dreaming, imagining, ways of entering the place beyond words. From this day forward, I acknowledge no distinction between poetry and the heart of religion. Poetry uses fewer words to point to the truth and creates spaces for all forms of human discernment of the truth. At its best, so does religion. Through its scriptures, its prayers and meditations, its songs, hymns, and chants, its sayings and aphorisms, parables, sutras, suras, chapters, verses, liturgies, ritual, worship, and witness, it points to the truth and creates spaces for all forms of human discernment of the truth. Poetry lives at the heart of religion. The second reading by the Reverend Nancy Schaefer is entitled, That Which Holds All. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirit, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then, thinking these weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot fully be addressed, she added particularities, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Ancient Holy One, mystery we will not ever fully know, gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Sarah, of Gaia, thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even those superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had been made by anyone or anything, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, and no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. Then, although she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain. Breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. The child said, water. Someone said, Kuan Yin, then womb. Witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then there wasn't any need to say the things she thought would be important to say, and everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen.
In our opening hymn, we sang the words of Rumi, the Sufi mystic poet. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. I love these words. We Unitarian Universalists are wanderers, searching for truth and meaning. We wander through and wonder about many religious ideas. We are worshipers, for we ascribe things of worth according to our own experiences and authority. We are lovers of leaving because many of us have walked away from religious paths that did not serve us well. Even on our current journeys, we leave paths that don't let us explore or be all of whom we could be. Finally, ours is no caravan of despair. Our caravan, our community, offers hope, comfort, inspiration, learning, beauty, connection, loving care, and so much more. We welcome you without shame or guilt. Rumi's poetry has meaning for Sufis and UUs alike. I imagine that you had no difficulty singing this song. A common joke among Unitarian Universalists is that we're terrible singers because we're too busy glancing ahead at the words to make sure we agree with them before we sing them. You've probably heard that joke before. When I was younger, I didn't want to sing any hymns that used words I didn't like, especially references to God, because I didn't believe in God. I didn't know until later that I just didn't believe in one idea of God. Almost 20 years ago, former president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the Reverend Bill Singford, pointed out that our 7 principles include no traditional religious words, no language of reverence like God. He didn't imply we lacked that we had an absence of reverence, but that we don't have a language to talk about it. And if we don't have words, our spiritual journeys are limited, as if we've reached dead ends and can go no further. I thought it worth exploring this morning to see whether in the intervening 19 years, whether anything had changed. In fact, I do think we are less strident in our rejection of some religious terms, but I think we still stay away from using them. I think we fear being misunderstood when we use them. I think we fear other people's interpretations or definitions will be used rather than our own. And so we stay away from them. There are many hymns in our hymnals that we never sing because there are too many words for some of us that we just find uncomfortable singing. After Singford's voicing of his concerns, 2 very humanist UU ministers responded with agreement. The Reverend David Bumbaugh wrote, quote, "We must have a language of reverence about what is deepest and dearest, about the focus of our ultimate commitment, about the source of human good, about what is so precious to us that we cannot betray it without losing our souls." He suggested we needed to create new words to reflect non-supernatural meanings to words like God and holy. The Reverend Kendall Gibbons believed we needed to reclaim the traditional words and give them new meaning. I think we are still a bit caught up between these 2 poles. I've had lively discussions with people claiming we can't give new meanings to these traditional religious language words. They felt that since the religious majority uses words in a particular way, that we're stuck with those meanings. I disagree. Words have never had just one meaning, and word meanings change over time. Philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein said words acquire meaning by how they're used. Because usage determines meaning, words change as their usage changes. Academics call this semantic shift. Look at a familiar example, the word gay. It once meant happy and lighthearted, and today it generally refers to a sexual orientation. Wittgenstein also believed that the words we use shape our reality. If we don't have a word for something, that something doesn't exist. It's not real. And we need words, whether spoken, written, or signed, to communicate with one another. It is through sharing that our beliefs and understandings are tested, refined, and perhaps changed. As Singford believed, spiritual growth stops in its track without language to propel us forward. Worship is one word of reverence that has a traditional meaning. In the Hebrew Bible, the Hebrew word most often translated into the word worship means to bow down before something, usually God. But our English word worship comes from the Old English worthsripa, meaning writing or assigning worth. You use ascribe worth to our shared values, best expressed in our 7 principles. We lift up these ultimate values in songs, in readings, in sermons, in prayers, and in other manner. We even affirm the worth of community by our coming together each Sunday. In a sense, I believe we do bow down before these shared values because they guide our living. They are what we aspire to live by. And sometimes I don't always live them out as close as I would like to. That first principle, to respect the inherent worth and dignity of all people, sometimes it's a little difficult. Though the principles are not our God, they express our highest ideals, if not beliefs. Though not our commandments, they share a similarity to Moses' tablets. And like the 10 Commandments, they call me back into covenant whenever I stray from them. If you are unfamiliar with the 7 principles, they are printed in the gray hymnal in the pages just preceding the first hymn. In a reading found in that gray hymnal, the Reverend Jacob Trapp writes, "To worship is to stand in awe under a heaven of stars, before a flower, a leaf in the sunlight, or a grain of sand. To worship is to be silent, receptive, before a tree astir with wind or the passing shadow of a cloud. To worship is to work with dedication and with skill. It is to pause from work and listen to a strain of music. To worship is to sing with the singing beauty of the earth. It is to listen through a storm to the still, small voice within. Worship is a loneliness seeking communion. It is a thirsty land crying out for rain. Worship is kindred fire within our hearts. It moves through deeds of kindness and through acts of love. Worship is the mystery within us, reaching out to the mystery beyond. It is an inarticulate silence, yearning to speak. It is the window of the moment, open to the sky of the eternal. Isn't this a wonderful definition of worship? Trapp's words serve to point us to something deeper, something more spiritual in nature. Religious terms are a language of reverence, of awe, of respect, even of bowing down before a great mystery. If we take words like holy, God, or Lord too narrowly, too literally, we lose incredible depth of meaning. Religious experiences should not be flat. In Reverend Nancy Schaefer's reading about God, God becomes so much more than a male puppet master pulling strings up in the clouds. I doubt that many of us find that particular meaning of God very helpful. In Reverend Josh Pavlik's sermon that Eric shared earlier, Pavlik also writes, quote, "Poetry uses fewer words, and in so doing creates space for other ways of knowing, feeling, sensing, intuiting, dreaming, imagining, ways of entering the place beyond words." Religious, reverential language is poetry. Words are tools, symbols that point towards something, that help us understand the mystery or enormity of the reality that we find ourselves in. When words become fossilized, when meaning becomes narrow and limited, we lose the fulsomeness of their possibility. They become signs, not symbols pointing towards something ineffable. A sign means what it says. Joe's bar, stop, go, yield. These are signs. A symbol represents something deeper, like our flaming chalice, which symbolizes, among other things, the cup of community and the flame of hope and justice. By their inexact nature, poetry, symbols, and metaphors allow us to enter into the mystery. They allow us to understand our experiences in our own way. We need open, expansive words so that we can find our own place in this wide spectrum of meaning. Spirit, God, holy. These words take us deeper, beyond the ordinary to the extraordinary. They help us celebrate what it is to be human and alive. Let's be adventurous by breaking open words like worship and God and others. Religion concerns itself with many ideas that have no concrete empirical existence. So let's use words in ways that can be meaningful to us individually, if not collectively. God help us if we can't. Soon we'll sing Spirit of Life and When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. I encourage you to sing without reading ahead. Sing with confidence, if not conviction. May it be so.
In the time of my confession, in the hour of my deepest need, when the pool of tears beneath my feet floods every newborn seed, there's a dying voice within me, reaching out somewhere, toiling in the danger and in the morals of despair. Don't have the inclination to look back on any mistake. Like Cain, I now behold this chain of events that I must break. In the fury of the moment, I can see the Master's hand. In every leaf that trembles, in every grain of sand. Oh, the flowers of indulgence, oh, the weeds of yesteryear. Like criminals, they have choked the breath of conscience and good cheer. The sun beams down upon the steps of time to light the way, to ease the pain of idleness and the memory of decay. I gaze into the doorway of temptation's angry flame, and every time I pass that way, well, I'll always hear my name. Then it's onward in my journey. I have come to understand that every hair is numbered, or every grain of sand. I have gone from rags to riches in the sorrow of the night, in the violence of a summer's dream, and in the chill of a wintry light, in the bitter dance of loneliness, fading into space, in the broken mirror of innocence on each forgotten face. I hear the ancient footsteps like the motion of the sea. Sometimes I turn, there's someone there. Other times it's only me. I am hanging in the balance of the reality of man. Like every sparrow fallen, like every grain of sand, I am hanging in the balance of the reality of man. Like every sparrow fallen, like every grain of sand.
Each week, we hold a time in our worship service for the sharing of significant joys and sorrows. If you have a personal joy or a personal sorrow that you would like to share, you are invited to come forward, place a stone in the water, speak your name into the microphone, and briefly share your joy or your sorrow. Let us enter into this time of tenderness and trust.
Eric, would you place a first stone for me? A stone of sorrow for all exploited and abused children. May they be rescued from harm and those who perpetuate such horrors be stopped. Thank you.
Morning. My name is Alan. I have two joys and one sorrow. First joy is hearing that beautiful rendition of one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs, especially within the context of what we've been talking around poetry and words. The other joy I have is that my oldest son is down for the weekend visiting us from Connecticut and joined me in a bucket list visit to the game last night, Duke in North Carolina. And my sorrow is if you all are a Carolina fan, you know where I'm going with that.
Our hearts are with you.
Hi, everyone. This is a stone of sorrow, although I think he would have appreciated that. My doctorate advisor, Ken Jacobson, a very influential mentor in my adult life, discovered he had lymphoma about a year ago and had recently shared a clean scan and results and hopes for recovery as recently in January. And last night we heard he's had a precipitous decline and is in hospice and not expected to last the weekend. So my thoughts are with all of his family and friends and colleagues who wish they had had more time.
Thank you, Michelle.
My name is Paige Smith, and I have a sorrow. My mother had a brain tumor some years back, and it's come back, and they've done some things with it with radiation, but it's kind of coming back now with a vengeance. And she has an MRI and sees a surgeon on Wednesday, and I'm not really sure where this is headed. It seems to be causing more problems than before. So if you could just keep her and my father and our family in your thoughts. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Caroline Pence, and I just have a concern to share. Coming up this week on Thursday, I'll be having outpatient surgery on my right hand, to address chronic tendonitis. So it should be pretty straightforward, but I just appreciate your thoughts. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Leanne King, and excuse me, it's still a little raw. I've got a joy and, a sorrow, and I'll say a positive outcome. I won't call it a joy. My father, after a fairly quick decline, passed away on January 21st, and the positive outcome is that all of the people, family and friends that reached out, really helped us to kind of see my dad in a more complete, wonderful way. And there are also many of you what's kind of keeping me going right now. So thank you.
This last stone is for all those joys and sorrows this morning that were left unspoken, but that live in our hearts and are no less real.
Please join me for a moment in the spirit of prayer. Source of life and love, gracious God, known to us by many names, we give thanks for all our joys, for this visiting of sons, for songs recalling joy. May we celebrate our joys together. For all of our sorrows, sorrows over the death of parents, over the illnesses of mentors and loved ones, for surgeries, and other losses, may we hold each of these tenderly and offer support. In this moment, there are among us those who are hurting. The world is not always kind, so the sources of our pain are many. But the world also contains people who love and care for one another, people in this community. May the love of this community be a balm on the wounds we may be experiencing. May the care of this community be the support we need to carry on. May we be the givers and receivers of such love and care. And may the spirit of love and life always be felt within and around us, comforting us and encouraging us to carry on in the face of whatever may challenge us. May peace be upon our hearts. Amen and blessed be. I invite you to remain seated as we sing our meditation hymn, number 123, in the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hands, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Before I share some closing words, I want to point out that tomorrow at 4 o'clock, I'm going to hold or lead a ritual of healing in the gathering room, which is the upstairs one of the upstairs new spaces in the addition. It will be in person, and I will offer a Zoom opportunity at another point in time, but Monday at 4 p.m. if you are interested. And so to close our service, I share the words of Transcendental Unitarian minister and abolitionist Theodore Parker. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple, all space. Its shrine, the good heart. Its creed, all truth. Its ritual, works of love. Its profession of faith, divine living. Let us rise in body and in spirit and sing our closing hymn in the Teal hymnal number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. And remain standing after.
our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we sing praises in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we tell our stories from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred place, and the God of our hearts stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace, when our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place.
The words for extinguishing the chalice are in your order of service. Please join with me in saying them. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join and sing Shalom. Shalom, my friend, shalom, my friend, shalom, shalom. We'll meet again, we'll meet again, shalom, shalom.